Hello, space engineers. Welcome to my missile launcher tutorial. This tutorial describes how to set up and use this missile launching system in your own playthroughs. This is a missile launching system that I developed for my Far From Home playthrough that I have posted on YouTube. I got a lot of assistance with this. The initial blueprint design that I used was by another space engineer, Zaflo Galactic. His blueprint, along with all of the missile blueprints that I have here, will be linked in the tutorial description. So the tutorial to set these up, the very simple setup, you need a 3x3 small grid conveyor port, and you need a small grid projector. You line the projection up with the conveyor port. You print off the missile in that location. It's basically going to become part of your grid. And then you put the fire group of the missile on your hotbar. Then when you want to fire it, you lock your target and press the fire group. When you reprint the missile, the group will be back on your hotbar, and you'll be able to fire it again. That's it. That is the whole setup. Now, if you want to make your own blueprints of these missiles and have them work on the same grid as other missiles, you're going to need to do a little more setup than that. And I go through all of that in my in-depth overview. That will be followed by some basic troubleshooting. Okay, space engineers. You want to learn how to make a missile, make a copy of one of these missiles, and launch it with the click of a button? Well, this is a tutorial for you. So these are all different missile shapes that I was working on just to test things out. All of these missiles are basically, or most of these missiles are kinetic strike missiles, which means they don't have any warheads. They just hit the target and cause damage. They are intentionally not powerful, not containing warheads, so that you guys can modify them, make your own. There will be blueprints that I provide that have warheads on them and have an arming timer so that the warheads are not armed immediately or always. This one has a extra timer and a warhead. There will also be blueprints for missiles with extra hydrogen tanks. So basically a hydrogen bomb. Those blueprints will also be available. This is also sort of the basis for a long-range missile. You need more fuel tanks. So if you wanted to shoot it farther, this will work out well for that. You just need to add another launch timer for hunting and add the warheads. All the difficult parts of this is related to the fact that these missiles are subgrids, and there are multiple instances of them, and you are reprinting them, so they are leaving and then coming back to your grid. Those all cause tons of horrible problems, and the solution to that has been to make the launcher, the launching system, where like all the timer blocks and everything that you need, event controller, to get the system working from the ship side is part of this blueprint. So basically everything, these last two blocks, the connector and the conveyor converter, that's going to stay with the ship, and everything on the other side of it is going to leave. So when you're making a copy of one of these missiles, there's some issues with subgrids being reprinted or reappearing after they've left, so after you've shot the missile. There are issues when the missile is reprinted if some of the missiles have been copied from other missiles. Even if you've changed all the names, there's something about the way SpaceEngineers remembers groups and the blocks assigned the groups. So that when you rename all the blocks on this grid, and you must do that if you want your own version, your own missile, that fires alongside any of the ones I've created. When you rename all the blocks, the groups that the blocks are in and the hotbar items that have those groups and blocks, they will all be renamed and they will all work just fine. But when the original grid that you copied is part of the same, so like in the missile launcher system I'm going to show you, it remembers the original block names that were in those hotbar slots or part of that group in addition to the new ones, and it can't resolve that, so it just says there's something here and I don't know what it was. So in order to avoid that unpleasantness and going back and debugging everything, what happens after you copy one of these, and this is just a copy that I haven't renamed yet, you need to come in here and we need to rename these two groups based on what this guy is. He's a purple one. And we need to rename all of these blocks, and we need to go to these timer blocks. We need to change, we need to reassign every slot. We need to go to this event controller and reassign every slot. We need to go to this timer block, reassign all the slots. Once that's been done, the way you use this is you put this group on the hotbar, your main grid, and when you want to fire that missile, you press that button. The missile will fire in the direction it's pointed at, whatever target it's locked onto. And then if you've got a welder there, you can just weld another one up, and when the missile's ready to fire, this block will be turned on and you can fire it. If the missile's not ready to be fired, the block won't be turned on, it'll be turned off, and you will not be able to fire. I'm going to show you the unpleasantness of renaming all these blocks, which you don't have to do. You can just take the blueprints I've got and put them on your grid. Only use those. You can do that. But my intention here is that other folks, you guys, will make your own missiles. Use these blueprints, make copies, make the missiles longer, wider, put warheads all over them, fill them full of hydrogen tanks, put sound blocks on them so they start screaming as they get close to you when they get in antenna range. I mean, you know, have a good time. So this is the first step. I'm going to rename all these blocks, and all of the hotbars and groups will have the correct blocks in them. They just won't work correctly if you don't create new groups. They won't work correctly. The timer blocks and things won't always know what's what if you don't reassign. I was hoping to be able to get away with not having to do this, but that is just not the case. Now, I mean, if you want to have like 5 copies of the same missile, I have no idea what'll happen because I've designed them to be in their individual groups. So if you have 5 yellow missiles, you have 5 groups? I don't know. Oh yeah, we got to rename the thrusters. Yay! Oh, and I've been really not that great at renaming them, so that's nice. And one of the reasons you have to rename these thrusters is because the thrusters, the boost thrusters anyways, are directly in the hotbar. So we renamed all that stuff. We're just going to delete this one because we got to delete. Let's delete that one. And we'll delete that one. Okay. So timer block connect. Okay, so this is this timer block just runs repetitively and tries to lock the connector. And you can see it's assigned correctly. However, it is also remembering the original name of that block because it hasn't been reassigned on this hotbar with this new block name. And so it may or may not act correctly when reprinted. So I'm just going to put this right back on here. Oh, which one is it? There's two connectors. The missile base connector. Missile connector, missile base connector. Okay, missile base connector. Lock, and then we're just going to run ourselves. Start. That's all this guy does. Let's see, the event controller that checks to see if the tank is full. Well, let's make sure it's got the hydrogen tank on it. Okay. And let's look at the actions. Ooh, see, they're not here, right? So all this is going to do is turn the fire block, fire on or off. So fire is on, fire is off. Okay. So when the cargo is greater than or equal to 100%, it turns on the ability to fire it. So this is the most irritating part. So the thrusters, there's two thrusters that are boost thrusters that get the rocket away from, they get the missile away from the ship. They start with override on. In order to have the AI move block use them, you needed to turn that off. So I have two blocks that on every menu, every one of the 10 menus, they are decreasing thrust override because the menu only each decrease does 5%. So you have to have two blocks to get all 100%. So what we're going to do here is this missile boost, decrease thrust override. The other missile boost, decrease thrust override. That's it. A whole bunch of that. So grab your thruster, decrease thrust override. And you know, this doesn't take that long. I mean, it's a pain in the tuchus, as Red S would say, but it doesn't really take that long. And then when you're done, you've got a missile that you can reprint in any game you want. You just put a projector on a ship, put the blueprint on it, align the projection, make sure there's a welder in the right place, and you're good to go. If you miss any one of these, it won't be able to use that thruster. So get them all. Okay, so we go to the fire block. So the fire block does several things, and you see this is missing, but it tells you what it was. So that's pretty awesome. That was a group, by the way. So we're going to turn the battery on because the battery starts off. We're going to enable auto on the battery just to make sure. We're going to take the hydrogen tank off the stockpile. Stockpile off. We're going to unlock the missiles connector, not the missile bases connector. So we're going to unlock the missiles connector. unlock. And we're going to turn it off to make sure that it stays unlocked. And we're going to turn off the merge block on the missile. We're leaving the one on the missile launcher. This is where the missile is fully detached from the ship at this point, and we're going to turn on the timer block for hunting. This timer block, it just waits 3 seconds, which gives the missile a chance to move about 450 meters or so away from the ship. And then it turns on the AI blocks, and it begins, well, it initiates the boost override decrease. So let's get the hunt one. Hunt. On. Sure it's on. And play. Play. And missile thrust yellow. So we need the missile thrust group. Missile thrust purple. Just going to turn them on. So the thrusters start off. And that's it for this guy. Now the hunt one's kind of interesting. We're turning on the AI blocks, turning on the AI behavior. We're turning gyro override off. The gyro starts with the override on to help the missile keep from drifting around or moving in any way before the boosters kick on and get it away from the ship. So even though all of these are here, we need to redo all of it and make sure it's going to work. Otherwise, something won't work. Something will not be working at some point. And it'll just, the missile won't work right. So, unfortunately, you gotta do this. AI behavior on. AI behavior on. Some gyros. Override, toggle override. And now we need to go to those boost thrusters, and this is 1/2 of the thrust override decrease. I gotta do that on every menu. And you know, this takes, I don't know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Let's stretch it. Let's say this process takes like 5 minutes. Is that really that bad? I mean, I know it's a pain in the ass, but is it really that bad? Because, I mean, I spent like 20 hours getting this system to work, so, you know, like 5 minutes? Come on, man. You can do that. You can all do that. And you can have your very own missile. And then the very last thing is to kick off that boost off timer. Okay, so this missile should be ready. And I'll just take a blueprint right now. You do that by looking at it and saying Control B. Okay, so we want to test these. We want to fire them at something. So we got a ship that I've used as a tester in the past, and I'm going to show you what you do from scratch in order to get this working. Okay. So to get this working, you need a 3x3 small grid conveyor port, and you need a projector. If you want to aim and whatnot, you might want to put a camera on there. You might want to put this on a hinge. You might want to put this on a rotor. You might want to put the whole thing on a turret controller and aim it that way. That's all up to you. But all you really have to do to get the blueprints to work is load the blueprint into the projector and put the fire button on your hotbar. So we're going to go load that purple one in right now, and hopefully it'll work. Projector, KS, purple. So this guy's on, so let's get the blueprints. Purple. Copy to clipboard. Okay, blueprint's active now. Obviously it's not oriented very well, so I just like to use build vision to make this painless on myself. Okay, so that guy is all lined up and ready to go. So let's turn on the other projectors. So the red one's got a warhead, and the other two here are kinetic strike missiles. So I previously set up those projectors. That's all I did. So let's go look at our hotbar. Okay, so that's a little concerning to me, that I don't see the fire blocks on the road. Maybe they've changed. So let's see here. Fire. Oh, well, we don't have the fire blocks yet because the darn projection isn't built. So we're going to go over here to our handy dandy little build everything. You can set your welders up any way you like. This is just what I'm doing to run these tests. Firing a target. Yellow, red, purple. They all hit their own block types. Okay. Now, if you want something to shoot at, you can use one of the targets. So I've got one out here already. It's a little beat up, so I'm going to spawn in a new target so we can shoot at that. So I'm going to do that by hitting Control F10, brings up the blueprints, and then I'm going to choose the target. Say copy to clipboard, and then I know vaguely which way I'm going to fire this, so I'm going to try and orient it like this. Now this target has it has a gun on it, it has an antenna, it has a power system, and it has a thruster. Although, is this, I don't know if this all belongs to the space pirates or not. I bet it doesn't. The final blueprint that I post will have these control panels on them. So you can make sure these grids are actually enemies. So transfer to space pirates. Yes. I'm in creative mode, so I can do that. Is the grid static? Because that'd be nice to have it not moving around. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take a new blueprint of the target. Control B. Of course, when you paste it, it may give you ownership. I don't really know, but this is what I do to test. So right now, those missiles are all shooting at different, they're all aiming at they're all aiming at the same subsystem is what they're aiming at. They're all aiming at weapons. I believe that's the default I have set. So if you want those missiles to aim at something else, you got to change that. Yes, so the yellow one, the one that I had fired but set up before and used, I guess, is still there. So let's see here. That used to be a blue missile, which you don't have the blueprint for that. And then this is a red missile, which is different now. So let's look here. Fire. Okay, we want the groups. So we want the purple one. Start. And we want the red one. This one has the warhead. Start. Okay, so let's go to those. So these AI combat blocks. So this guy's gonna, the purple one is gonna go after weapons. The yellow one is gonna go after communication. And the red one's gonna go after weapons. Yeah, this is why it didn't come up there. So this guy's going to be going after weapons, right? Okay, so let's lock our target. We are going to launch all of them one at a time. Yellow, purple, red. That one shot the gun. What? Oh man. So this missile just came out here and stopped. Because its target died because the other guy killed the target. That's what happened. So if I change this to like propulsion. It had a hard time hitting it from here. Oh, there it hit it. Okay. Red, yellow, purple. You saw that missile change direction to come in at the target. But the other ones aren't. I saw them launch. Well, we went after propulsion. What is wrong with the other two missiles? What are those two missiles doing? Got a red one, it's just sitting here. What is it doing? Oh, this is not the right blueprint. This is an old blueprint. This is a blueprint that doesn't work. Okay. That's what that is. What is the deal with this guy? Well, you're the new one. Why don't you work? Are you missing stuff? Hunt. Set up actions. Okay. Let's look at those thrusters. Disabled. Disabled. Okay. Combat. Looking for enemies. Attacking power systems. Yeah, attacking power systems. So is that not a space pirate block? Transfer to space pirates. Yes. Here comes that missile now. Okay, it just couldn't find a target. Okay, so that's why it's not hitting that. Okay. So this guy... antenna. Yeah, okay, so... yeah. Wonder if somebody will come and get that now. Yep. Okay, so you can see I did a little bit of debugging there, but all the debugging I did was really about making blocks enemy blocks. And the missiles came out and toasted their targets. That's probably if you do all the block renaming groups correctly, then that's the worst thing that you'll have to deal with. At about 6,500 damage. So have at it. Get yourself a 3x3 conveyor port, a projector, and a blueprint. And shoot some missiles. They're all hydrogen powered, so you'll need a hydrogen source hooked up to that 3x3, but that's all you should need. I hope people will make their own versions of missiles with a variety of functionalities and features, and that they will all post those blueprints. And the only thing that I ask is that you post a link to the blueprints that I post. Thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope it was helpful.